Hello, everyone. Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to our webinar today, Enhancing the Life Science Customer Experience, the Part 11 module and what it means for your business. That's me on the right there. I'm Jennifer Royer. I run our healthcare and life sciences industry marketing, and I am joined today by Ellen Riley, our Vice President of Healthcare and Life Sciences. Ellen has over 30 years in the pharmaceutical industry and life sciences broadly. She's had leadership roles in HR, IT, and operations, and her current role is focused on strategic industry partnerships and extending the impact of digital operations in life science and healthcare organizations. And as for me, I've been here for about 2.5 years. It's always very exciting to have these customer sessions because I feel like every time we have a presentation, there's something new and exciting to report on in the life science or healthcare space. And so today we'll really be spending a little more time on the wonderful world of Part 11, which I'm sure most of you are very familiar with. But we'll also spend some time just talking about the impact of going digital in this industry and why that's so important. So really the main thesis of today is that taking your life science organization 100% digital is a competitive advantage. And we'll talk about why that matters, why digital matters, and how you can go fully digital. So some specific things we'll focus on are benefits of digital investment. As I mentioned, a deep dive on the Part 11 capabilities that we here at DocuSign have invested in. And then how do you actually go and apply the technology for your benefit? What are some high-impact use cases, best practices for going digital? And of course, we'll leave time for questions and answers. And on that note, wanted to remind you that we have a Q&A function as well as a chat function in the panel to the right of your console. So please don't be shy and enter your questions throughout the session, and we will address those at the end. All right, so let's get into it. I said that we would talk a little bit about why digital matters and why this is a competitive advantage. So let's begin with a bold statement here. We here at DocuSign believe that all successful businesses will be 100% digital. So you might be saying, well, why, Jennifer? Why do you believe that? Well, let me try and convince you here with some hard-hitting data. Organizations that rank high on digital maturity, and this comes from a study conducted by Deloitte and MIT, it was found that digitally mature companies enjoy a lot of really nice financial benefits. So 50% more profitable, they have 13% more revenue, and a 19% higher market valuation. So, you know, just pretty good numbers there. And then beyond that, there are really a lot of trends that are fueling the fire behind digital in life sciences. And since we are here in January of the new year, I wanted to actually draw from a recent edition of PharmaVoice where they outlined the top 10 trends for the new year, and we're focusing here on 3: patient caregiver empowerment, mobile optimization, and new entrants and disruptors in this space. And so I think this is very interesting because these trends are really top of mind for the industry, and technology and digitization really connects to all 3. So when we think of patient and caregiver empowerment, this is really about providing more information and transparency for tech-savvy patients. You know, people are expecting to have all of this information to inform their decisions at their fingertips. And what does that really mean? Well, it actually ties quite closely to mobile optimization. It is very important that leaders in this space, so all of you, are investing in mobile apps and platforms to connect patients to all parts of the healthcare and life science ecosystem. And as you're looking for technology and digital investments, it's also important that you're looking for a platform that can be mobile, that can connect across the systems that you already have in place today. And so mobile optimization, I already hit on that one. It's really about that connectivity and access and allowing you to do business anywhere, anytime, on any device around the world. And that last piece around anywhere, anytime, any device is in DocuSign's core of what we do and what we believe in. And that's for a reason. It's very important in the way that you're operating. And really not only for reaching patients, but it's also about that connectivity of the broader space that you're in with providers, payers, suppliers, partners, really helping you keep that end-to-end digital process. And then finally, new entrants and disruptors. I think the past year or so, we've seen some very interesting announcements and strategies with companies like Apple, Google, and IBM who are investing in life sciences and healthcare. And, what does that really mean for you? Well, one, I think we can learn a lot from technology leaders. When we think about the decades-long product development cycle, a lot of tech companies are releasing things every quarter. Certainly that's DocuSign's schedule. And so we're in the business of kind of nimble product development. And so really partnering and learning from best practices from some of these new entrants, I think will really propel the industry forward. So just wanted to share that as another kind of piece of context to set the stage for this investment in digital and why this is driving the forces behind technology investment. And so if we just connect this back, I've talked about why digital makes you more competitive. There are certainly monetary benefits. It helps you connect with the ecosystem that you care about. But what we're really seeing when we look at our customer base is that, digital is top of mind, but it can be really hard. And so often the scenario that we'll encounter is that a lot of you folks have invested in many different systems and processes, but it's often that last piece that's very hard to connect at the end. So, when it comes to getting a signature, it reverts to printing, scanning, and faxing. Or you have systems that don't talk to one another. So you have something in Salesforce, and you have to print it out and scan it somewhere else. So we're here to help connect those pieces and enable you to be fully digital. And I think I got ahead of myself. There we go. There's a pretty picture. So this is what it looks like in the DocuSign world, where we're able to connect to the systems you already use today and really help you connect both the systems that you're using to each other as well as the different constituents that you do business with. We're a technology that kind of provides that glue and connectivity to help you keep things 100% digital. Just a few examples at a high level of life science customers that are using DocuSign in some of the various applications. Medtronic is using DocuSign for sales and service, among other things. AstraZeneca is actually on a webinar with us a few months ago, and they started in procurement but have since expanded to other areas. So you can see the laundry list there. R&D, clinical development, patient safety, and quality, among others. And then Cedars-Sinai is a fun case study. So they're using DocuSign for their electronic cancer research registry to enroll patients into those studies. And we'll talk a little bit more about some of the broader use cases later, and specifically those that pertain to Part 11 regulated parts of your business. So, we talked about why digital, we talked about some of the ways people are using DocuSign, but you may still be wondering, well, what exactly is it that DocuSign does? And maybe some of you are familiar with us because of our e-signature capabilities, but it is really much more than that. So when you think about any key approval or other document process that you're running in your business today, it all starts with something, some document that needs to be completed, signed, etc. And so you're able to pull these documents from systems you have, either other technologies like a Box, Dropbox, Microsoft Office Suite, pull those into a very elaborate workflow and routing system in DocuSign, and then go through the process of authenticating someone and having them complete and sign that document. You can even collect payment as part of this process. And then flowing all the way through, very robust reporting and digital retention. We can also work with systems that you have to store completed documents. So it really is that end-to-end process where we can connect with document systems at the very start of the process and the very end, and we're helping you complete this process more efficiently. And this is all built on a secure platform. We have industry-leading security, a lot of different options for how you want to configure this technology, and we take trust very seriously. And then this is just a sample of what I like to call the flavors of DocuSign. And so this is everything from using DocuSign as a standalone application. So you go to DocuSign, log into the console, and you can use it from there. We also have a number of pre-built integrations. So some are listed there with Salesforce, Microsoft, and others. And then we also have a really robust API. So that really helps you, whatever systems you have, essentially use DocuSign to plug into those, whether that's a homegrown portal or, you know, some sort of electronic trial master file system or something like that. If we don't have a pre-built integration, that's okay. We can still work with the systems that you have. And so really I like to describe this as we can say yes more, because we work in a lot of different ways and we work the way that you do. And that last piece around flexibility really alludes to choice. And this is one of the key reasons why customers are selecting DocuSign today, is that we work with what you already have in your business. But these other two components are very important as well. So experience, you know, I said before, we know that change is hard, and so we make it as easy as possible to get started, and that's everything from the user experience to our experience with over 100,000 customers and many different implementations. So we've probably seen it before, and we can help you along the way. And then that last piece around trust. So we have invested a lot to make sure that we have industry-leading security, encryption, availability, and so forth. And so this is something that, like I said, we take very seriously, we really pride ourselves on, is that security and trust. And so before I hand things over to Ellen, I wanted to just inspire a little bit. We've talked a lot about what DocuSign does, why digital matters, and I know there's a lot here, but I do like to think of this as an inspirational slide. The theme of our user conference this year is Imagine What You Can Do, and that's kind of how I see this page, which is a somewhat organized laundry list of all of the different use cases in life science organizations. And so this is everything from your HR, procurement, legal, to Part 11 regulated use cases, which is where we'll really double down when I hand things over to Ellen. So clinical trials, e-clinical portals, manufacturing and quality, and a lot of those specific use cases. So really, this can help you go digital across the enterprise. This is not even an exhaustive list right here, but you can see that there's really no shortage of opportunity for digitization in life sciences. And then, you know, what can you expect when you're making this investment? These are some statistics that are drawn from our life science customer base. So we're seeing an average of 3 weeks faster completion time, which when you're thinking about how long it takes in clinical trials to get things to market, that really does matter. And an average of about $38 per document. Now, when you multiply that out by all of the approvals and transactions and documents flowing through your business today, you can very quickly see how that adds up from a hard dollar savings perspective. And by the way, error reduction, which is important because if you're messing something up on paper, well, you got to resend the whole thing. But we have ways to control for that in the digital world where you're requiring fields or certain form factors as you're filling these things out. So really, speed to results, helping you get your new products to market sooner. All right, now before I transition to Ellen, I want to open it up to all of you for a little audience engagement here. So there's a poll section in the console that you should see, and we'd like you to please respond to this. Which best describes the extent your organization is using digital technologies in daily operations? So I'll give folks a few moments to respond to that. All right. Well, I can tell why you're all attending this webinar because no one answered 100%, which does not surprise me. So that means we all have something to learn here, and that's great. It looks like the lion's share is at about 50%, and then it almost looks like a normal curve, actually, for all of you statistical nerds, but there's some on the 25% and 75% as well, but mostly hovering around 50%. So, all right, so we can help you get to 100. I think that should be our goal today. So with that, I will hand things over to Ms. Ellen Riley, who will dive deeper into the regulated part of life sciences and various capabilities that we have to help you go fully digital in that realm. All right, take it away, Ellen.
Exposed to our Part 11 product. We do have several products that support regulated use cases. Last April, we bought a company called ARX, which has a cosign product, and really it allows us to support digitally signed certificates with an appliance in your data center. And we have thousands of hospitals and customers that are using us to manage digital certificates around business processes. We also have, last year we announced in March the ability to support the Safe Bio digital certificate and support signing any type of business transaction with a Safe Bio compliant certificate. Additionally, this year we bought Open Trust, which will support digital certificates in Europe. And then lastly, where we're going to focus on for the rest of the time we have today together is really about our Part 11 module. And our Part 11 module has been available on the market for the past year. We have over 35 customers that have bought the product or in various stages of adopting the product, whether they're fully validated and they have multiple use cases up and running, or they're in the middle of the validation process, or they've just acquired the product. And I'm going to share with you some of the investments we've made in the product over the last year and what people are doing with it. So with that, I'm going to go to the next slide. So our Part 11 module, if you see the little shield with the check sign, when you are in the DocuSign product, if you are in the Part 11 account, you will see that as whether if you're an administrator or a sender or a signer, so you'll know that it requires the two-factor authentication, the reason code, it creates the timestamp and the date stamp, so you know that that has gone through and is Part 11 compliant. We have customers, these are some of the subsets of use cases in the generic component. Jen talked about all the ways DocuSign can be used. specifically, Part 11 applies mostly to anything that touches product, whether it's in the clinical trials process, the quality area, or the supply chain portion of making sure that you really have control over all the documentation or all the business processes that touch product. So we have clients using us around electronic lab notebook, integration, SOPs for validation documents. And so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about those use cases and some of the product features. So our new release for our Part 11 module was available in December on an early access program, and then is now available to anybody who's interested in buying the product. The benefits, it supports REST and SOAP APIs, so you can integrate it with back-end systems like your Documentum systems or OpenText or any type of workflow technology that you've invested in for your business processes. We have a new signing experience. We've taken advantage of the investment that DocuSign has made into better signing capability, the workflow, making sure all the safeguards and administration processes are in there to support Part 11. There's also, on the administration side, we have better reporting capabilities and controls of the configuration of the Part 11 module, and to be able to report on those available for administrators. As you can see in the right-hand side of the slide, you see the little shields with the check that says Part 11 module enabled. So there's ways to do reporting and look at information for the Part 11 account that's much more beneficial than our previous product. So we're going to stop for a second, and this is our last poll question. We're going to ask, what are some of the biggest challenges to adopting digital technologies such as DocuSign or others for Part 11 regulated use cases? If you have gone through the path and are using DocuSign or other technologies, or you're trying to use digital technologies. So I'll stop and see how we're doing.
All right, we're still collecting responses here. Thus far, it looks like compliance is the leader, and other, which is unclear.
I'll give it a second. So, and compliance should not be a shock. I started in the quality department when I got out of college, and quality is absolutely the essence and the basis of the life sciences world, to make sure that quality is embedded in every business process. And so it's making sure that there's risk management, there's validation processes, and there's it's a change management process for a lot of compliance organizations to move to a fully digital workflow and support Part 11 electronic signatures. So it absolutely makes sense. So some of the use cases that, David Letterman's off the air, but DocuSign still likes top 10 use cases. We think it's a great way to educate our customers and how to use DocuSign. The light blue slides really are Part 11 regulated use cases that we're seeing adoption by organizations, and I'm going to go into them into more specific so you can see what others are using the technology for. If you're interested in the other use cases, we do have a webinar we did earlier this summer that you can get online that talks about non-Part 11 use cases and what others are using. But on the Part 11 side, people are using us for clinical trials documentation. There are a lot of players. There's the, what's going on with the Transcelerate initiative, but everybody still needs to manage clinical trials documentation and interact with your sites, manage documentation. You may have invested in technologies, whether it's SharePoint or NextDocs or OpenText, or you're investing in Viva Vault. DocuSign the Part 11 module can integrate into those technologies to be able to manage workflow and processes to share documents outside your four walls to get approved and signed off. The other area that we see adoption is around the clinical trial, the monitoring reports. You know, CRAs have to go out into the field and have to make sure that they manage and turn around documentation very quickly around what's going on in a clinical site. And we have customers that are using this to really reduce the time frame, speed up how quickly the reports get back in from the findings from the sites, manage the signature, and then go to the trial sponsor, whether it's the manufacturer or if a CRO is using our technology to collect information and then pass it to the sponsor. And it can immediately integrate with the documents that you may already have to collect this information and really then manage the workflow and the signature. Another area, there's a lot of information that has to go around, so there's two components of labeling. So you have managing labeling approvals through an organization. Once you get a package insert and you're trying to manage that whole process of labeling and package inserts, you can use DocuSign to integrate with whether you have already invested in workflow or content management systems, or you just really want to use it to manage PDFs and approvals through your organization with a Part 11 signature. You can use DocuSign for that. You also can use it if you want to notify healthcare professionals about any labeling changes that may come and share with them, making sure that they get it, or if you need acknowledgement. On the medical device side, we have clients using us for device maintenance and sign off on calibration. You can use this in the lab with your people coming in to do work on any instrumentation. So we have clients that are using us doing over 20,000 field service reports a year for signature before submitting for audits. DocuSign can integrate with any back-end systems you may have. For example, on the med device side, we have clients integrating us with Salesforce, but you can integrate us with any type of workflow process that you may have for device maintenance or even into your back-end maintenance systems. The last area use case, which I find wonderful, is the validation documents, and people are using us to manage the validation master plan, the IQ, the OQ, and the PQ, and the summary reports to really move that through the quality organization, the IT, and then the end user for sign-off quickly. So with that being said, we've got a adoption. We have a white paper available to show you the quickest ways to adopt DocuSign and the Part 11 product and get it up and running in your organization. It is a change management process, getting the quality organization, getting people to buy in to use electronic signatures in the cloud, and some of the quickest adoption. This is a great source of information for you to access. Some of the best practices, I know we're coming to the end of our time before we get some time for Q&A, but some of the best practices of adopting the Part 11 module: get your quality organization at the table at the beginning. Make sure that you agree to a strategy of how you're going to validate this, how are you going to manage upgrades. As a cloud service provider, we provide upgrades to the product on an annual basis. Coming up with a strategy on how you're going to take those upgrades. We do support different environments for you to go through your validation process. We have a partner, USDM and others, that offer validation test scripts and service packs to be able to validate on a regular basis as we make changes to the product. So with that, I'm going to turn it over, Jen, if we want to have time for any questions.
Yep. We can take a few questions, and we've got some good ones here from the audience. So a nice segue, since you were just talking about validation, Ellen, there's a question around, are there validation packages available for those who need to validate the system?
So we do not offer out IQ, OQ, and PQ test scripts. We do have partners such as USDM that for a nominal fee will work with you and offer you that. And you can find them on our website. We also support any type of audits that your regulatory or your quality organization would want to do to make sure that we internally meet all of our processes for documentation, for ISO, and be able to support your quality requirements.
Great. All right, next one is an interest in the electronic signature for informed consent process in clinical investigations and trials. So the FDA recently issued some draft guidance on this, and the question is if our technology meets these requirements and is aligned to that guidance.
So we do have clients using us for patient and informed consent. It's up to your quality organization to make sure that you deem our technology compliant, but we have been adopted by other customers for informed consent processes.
Great. All right, here's another one. Integrations are a significant adoption hurdle. How do you help get around that?
Integration?
I think the question is around, this person sounds like they're interested in integrating DocuSign with other technologies, but perhaps have had challenges doing that in their organization in the past. So what would we offer as adoption advice for implementing DocuSign with other systems?
So we do, from a technology perspective, we have REST and SOAP APIs, so we can support integration to almost anything out there. Recently, Viva integrated us to their Vault product. So the documentation is there. If it's a business process problem and it's a change management adoption, I would pick a simple use case and technology to show the integration and not go after the complexity. You may have invested millions of dollars in a Documentum system that you guys have been using for quality documents or SOPs for years, and that may be a hurdle to get buy-in to change that process. I would not pick that if that is the case. I would pick maybe more of a manual process and start to adopt Part 11 that way, and then show an integration into another technology.
Great. Yeah, and another thing that I would add is that DocuSign has a services organization that has helped some customers already with their Part 11 adoption, and so that the reason why that group exists is for these very issues, is that we understand change is difficult, and we've seen a lot of different paths to adoption and what works and what doesn't, and certainly every organization is different, but we can help provide some of the services along those lines. All right, I think we've got time for one more, so we'll go with this one. What are some examples of life science companies using the Part 11 module, and what has been the result of their adoption?
So I think we have, it's interesting, over the 35-plus companies that have bought our product, they range everywhere from biotech organizations, and I'm not sure if we're at liberty to share some of those client names, as well as enterprise organizations have signed up to use our product and are in the middle of onboarding use cases. Obviously, in a biotech organization, we're finding quicker adoption. They're more nimble. They're smaller organizations. What they do, Part 11 product is a different module. So if you're using DocuSign for other business transactions, such as procurement and whatnot, you can use you can validate the Part 11 module and then onboard use cases to that. The documents do sit in the cloud, and they are purged as soon as you want them. So we have many clients that are using us for the Part 11 transaction. Once it's completely signed, they bring it back into their source system, on, whether that's a cloud solution or on-premise, and then they purge it out of our cloud-based technology. We do have other clients, though, that leave it up in the cloud and maintain it indefinitely. So that's up to you. We provide options to do both. We have lots of use cases. Would love to talk to you if you're interested. You can reach out to us at www.docusign.com/lifesciences, and we'd be more than happy to engage in a more detailed discussion and demo the product to you.
Great. All right. I see there are still some additional questions. Unfortunately, we're out of time, so we will respond to you individually and get back to you on those. And one last comment, just keying off of Ellen's around the Part 11 adoption. As the marketing person, I feel like I need to say this. The 35 customers she mentioned were specific to Part 11. We have very wide adoption in the life science industry overall for broader use cases beyond the regulated space. So 14 of the top 15 global pharma, 11 of the top 15 med device. So certainly seeing a lot of interest and traction in this space, and excited to have you all join us today for the latest and greatest in life sciences. So just to close out, thank you again for attending. We will be following up with a recording of this event over the next couple of days. And for those of you whose questions we weren't able to get to, we will make sure that we respond to you on those specific inquiries. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.